Greetings, my name is Professor Bubbles, and welcome to class. What I have for you guys today is a Battlefield 4 chopper tutorial. Now I know what you're thinking, Battlefield 4 has been out for forever, why are you teaching us about choppers? Well, two reasons. Firstly, is that I still run into so many bad pilots and have to endure the painful experience of sitting in choppers with them doing my best not to yell at the screen for all the things they're doing wrong. Secondly, is that I'm just late to this whole YouTube thing, so you'll just have to deal with it. For these lessons, I'm just going to be covering the Scout Helicopter class. There are different strategies for the attack and transport helicopters, so if I ever cover these, it will be in another video. Also, these tutorials are going to be starting from the ground up, meaning if you're already comfortable flying the chopper, you may want to skip to my next video. Before we even get into the cockpit, you need to know what button layout I'll be using. Because I learned to fly in Battlefield 3, I use Veteran for my heli buttons and use the default layout for the sticks. Feel free to use whatever layout works for you, but this is what I have come to use and will be using for the rest of the video. Next up is loadout. I use the 7.62 miniguns for my primary, heat seekers for my secondary, ECM jammer for my countermeasures, and stealth coating for my upgrade. I'm aware if you're just starting out, you're not going to have all of these items unlocked, and that's okay. Actually, I recommend you use the 25mm cannons until you are more comfortable flying the Scout helicopters. The extra splash damage they provide is nearly essential if you haven't mastered aiming. Also, the gyro stabilizer can be incredibly helpful if you aren't used to the higher stress situations. ECM jammer can give you a huge advantage once you unlock it, but IR flares will get the job done. Let's move on to the basics of flying. You're going to use your right trigger to accelerate your main rotor blade. Now, one thing that can give you an immediate advantage is knowing to use your left trigger to decelerate or lower your chopper. While not particularly effective against infantry, many pilots that you run into may not be used to a pilot who uses both, and their aim will be thrown off. Now, the right stick will affect your pitch with a forward and backwards motion of the stick. By leaning forward, you get yourself to move forward. Now, doing a left and right motion on the right stick will affect your roll. This is what's going to enable you to be able to strafe and circle your enemies. The left stick will only work in the left and right direction, and this is what will affect your yaw. It is important to note that turning your helicopter sideways will not immediately make your helicopter go that direction. It requires 3 motions to make a straight 90-degree turn, 1 on the left stick to face the correct direction, and 2 on the right stick, 1 to adjust your roll and another to increase your pitch. These motions may feel unusual, and this is the important part. Getting good at Scout helicopters requires practice. While over the next few videos I will be covering various strategies for being successful, they're all going to require you know how to handle yourself in the cockpit. I recommend going into training and put some time into just getting a feel for helicopters. It may be boring, but try challenging yourself to things like flying under the bridge or landing on the building. If you want a more difficult challenge, try landing on the spy drone. Anyway, thanks for listening and come back next class where we will discuss shooting, strafing, and circling.